You have seen the Producer Responsibility Organization has a lot of tasks. Fulfilling these responsibilities costs money, which the PRO acquires by collecting fees from producers. But these fees can in themselves be a powerful tool to propel the transition towards a circular economy. They produce changes at the two key points in the packaging value chain we've identified before. Downstream, fees cover all costs related to the management of packaging waste, financing and collection, sorting, and recycling. Upstream, they internalize the environmental costs associated with the producer's packaging waste. Thus, they incentivize companies to reduce their packaging consumption and increase their packaging's recyclability. Let's begin downstream. Funding from producers for waste management systems is essential. Many municipalities in developing countries lack the resources to fund adequate waste management infrastructure. Despite 19% of municipalities' budget being dedicated to waste management on average in low-income countries, waste leakage into the environment remains at 93%. In a functioning EPR system, producers are obliged to pay fees to the PRO to cover all waste management operating costs as defined by the legal framework, making the system financially sustainable through a reliable inflow of money. Operating costs include collection, sorting, and recycling, but also administrative costs of the PRO, as well as other activities such as littering prevention, education, information, research, and development. For a nonprofit PRO, this means that these expenditures must be equal to its revenues. These revenues consist of EPR fees, reserves from previous years, and any incomes from the commercialization of recyclable materials. EPR fees are the main revenue stream, with incomes from commercialization usually only covering about 20% of a PRO's expenditures. EPR fees must be used for EPR-related purposes only and are directly related to producers' packaging waste, as well as services provided by the PRO. This distinguishes EPR fees from eco-taxes, which flow into the government's general budget. EPR fees are therefore defined by the operating costs the PRO faces. These are defined by three factors. Firstly, the efficiency of the PRO's operations directly influences its operational costs. Efficiently operating PROs decrease EPR fees for each company. This includes sound financial management and the prevention of free riding by ensuring all producers contribute. Producers, therefore, have strong incentives to monitor and optimize the PRO's operations. Secondly, the PRO's costs vary depending on the tasks it must fulfill according to the legal framework. For what materials is it responsible and what is their recycling value? How ambitious are recycling and collection targets? Is it responsible for other activities such as research and development, cleaning streets, or preventing illegal dumps? All these tasks are important for waste management but infer additional costs. Finally, the operating costs of collection and recycling vary depending on the local context. Are waste producers such as households and businesses easily accessible? Is recycling and collection infrastructure already in place? What composition does the waste have? How high is the net market value? Although costs vary between EPR systems, they are too small to be felt by consumers. For example, the EPR fee for a single transparent PET bottle in France is around $0.009 US. Financing waste management is, of course, the basic function of EPR fees. However, upstream, they have a second task: incentivizing producers to reduce their packaging material usage and increase its recyclability. The basic idea goes like this. As producers have to pay for the management of their packaging waste, they are incentivized to reduce the amounts of waste they produce. The bad news is that research has shown that paying EPR fees through a collective responsibility system is not enough to persuade producers to invest in eco-friendly packaging. Before you stop watching, there is some good news. EPR fees can actively be designed to set incentives for eco-design. By differentiating fees for different materials or product designs, companies can be pushed to make their products more recyclable. Many EPR schemes differentiate their fees depending on packaging materials. Thus, companies are charged less for packaging materials which are easily recyclable, promoting the substitution of non-recyclable materials. Across the EU, producers pay more for plastic packaging compared to materials such as paper or aluminum. However, deciding on whether a product is recyclable is not an easy task, especially when dealing with plastics. Often, small changes to a product may make a big difference. In practice, the recyclability of a given material depends on the available recycling infrastructure. What is recyclable in Europe may not be in a developing country. Let's take a simple example. Chalk is often used in PE packaging as a filler to reduce plastic content and packaging costs. However, this makes the packaging heavier, so it cannot be separated through a swim sink process, which can be used even in very simple recycling facilities. EPR fees should therefore be higher for packaging containing chalk, incentivizing its use. The criteria on which fee modulation for recyclability is based must be clearly defined, verified, and transparent to ensure the local context is taken into account. There are 2 rules of thumb which can help making plastic packaging more recyclable. First, reduce the amount of different packaging materials used in any one product. Packaging consisting of one material is usually easier to recycle than one made of 5. Second, make these materials easily identifiable and separable from each other. Only then can they be easily sorted. The knowledge of what makes products recyclable in a given context lies with recyclers and sorters. As mentioned before, recycling capacities vary between countries. In order to set the right incentives, packaging manufacturers, producers, and government authorities must be aware of the changes needed to increase recyclability. Clear communication, coordination, and action along the value chain is therefore vital. Fee modulation can be used to address various other issues. For example, in France, producers can receive fee reductions for providing information on the correct disposal of their packaging, for reducing packaging use, and for using recycled materials in their packaging. When setting up a fee system, PROs must of course play by the key design principles for EPR schemes. It must be made sure that all producers pay according to the packaging put on the market, guaranteeing a level playing field. Generally speaking, fees are charged from every company according to the weight and material composition of their packaging. Thus, no company faces unfair disadvantages towards their competitors. Many systems further include exemptions or simplified procedures for small enterprises in order to ensure the system's social inclusivity. For example, in Belgium, any producer putting less than 300 kilograms of packaging on the market per year is exempt from paying EPR fees. Some products, such as plastic bags, may also be charged per unit. Another exception is the service packaging, which is only filled upon use, such as takeaway trays or single-use cutlery. Here, the packaging manufacturer is charged as the final sellers are often very small businesses. Both the composition of the EPR fees and the PRO's expenditure should be made public. Such a transparent system makes the monitoring of producers and PROs possible. As you see, incentivizing recyclability and waste reduction is a complex but worthwhile task that requires a lot of learning. It may therefore be helpful to start setting up EPR schemes with relatively simple fee structures and adapt these over time. I hope you enjoyed this module. The expert voices will help you dive deeper into the topic, and see you in the next video.